Hey guys, I'm Bob. Welcome to the Math channel, and today we are going to find sine 75, sine 15, cosine 75, and cosine 15 without using a calculator. Alright, so how are you going to go about doing it? Well, basically it's to make use of the fundamental, which is solving calculating sine 30, sine 45, and sine 60 without using a calculator, and we proceed to calculate sine 15 and sine 75, cosine 15, cosine 75 using this formula, which is the trigo addition formula. Okay, so what is the trigo addition formula? Well, I will tell you later, but right now, let us solve sine 75, sine 15, cosine 75, cosine 15 without using a calculator. First thing what I'm going to do is to solve sine 75. So basically, sine 75 is what? Sine 75 is this equals to sine 30 plus 45, alright? Well, the first thing that you do is to convert this into alpha and beta. So you have sine alpha, okay, sine alpha and beta. Okay, so that is the first thing that you convert to. And let's treat alpha as 30 and beta as 45. And after which we will follow this formula, which is the sine alpha cosine beta plus sine beta cosine alpha. Okay? And we know that alpha is 30, so we substitute alpha is 30 here, and beta is 45. Okay? So now we are able to solve already, because by the look, okay, by using this right angle triangle as well as the equilateral triangle, we are able to solve, okay, the trigo formula. So sine 30 is basically let me see, sine 30 is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, sine 30 opposite, which is 1 over hypotenuse, is 2, so sine 30 is half. Cosine 30 is how much? Cosine 30 is basically adjacent, which is the square root 3 over hypotenuse, so it's square root 3 over 2. Well, sine 45 is what? Sine 45, let's take a look. If this is 45 degrees, that would be opposite over hypotenuse, so it's 1 over square root 2. And finally, cosine 45 is what? Cosine 45, same thing. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's 1 over square root 2. And we are able to solve already. Why? Because you just need to multiply. So it's half times 1 over square root 2 is 1, 2 over square root 2 plus, okay, and finally this is square root 3 over 2 square root 2, and that gives you 1 plus square root 3 over 2 square root 2, okay, which is in the surds form. Alright, so here we go. Sine 75 basically is equals to 1 plus square root 3 over 2 square root 2. Okay, the next thing that we want to find using not using the calculator is actually sine 15. Well, the first thing that we do is to actually put it in this way: sine alpha minus beta. Okay, so my alpha will be 45, my beta will be 30, and what do we do next? Okay, we make use of the trigo addition formula, okay, to actually kind of help us solve this problem. So sine alpha minus beta is equals to sine alpha cosine beta. If I were to put a bracket, actually it doesn't matter. Alright, sine alpha cosine beta minus sine beta cosine alpha. And then we substitute the alpha with 45 and beta with 30. So this is 45 and this is 45, and my beta is how much? 30, right? And my sine is 30. And after that, we just need to make use of this triangle to help us to solve the problem. So sine 45 is what? Opposite over hypotenuse, which is 1 over square root 2. Cosine 30, let's take a look at this equilateral triangle. Cosine 30 is adjacent, which is square root 3. You can see the square root 3 down here, over hypotenuse, so it's square root 3 over 2. Sine 30, how about sine 30? Alright, sine 30 is opposite over hypotenuse, so it's half. And cosine 45, we take a look at this right-hand triangle, is also adjacent over hypotenuse, is 1 over square root 2. And finally, we can just basically solve, alright? So this is square root 3, 1 times square root 3 is square root 3, 2 over square root 2 minus, what is this? 1 over 2 over square root 2. So, yep, you will get the answer square root 3 minus 1 over 2 square root 2. Alright, so here's the answer without using a calculator, but you end up with certs, but that's okay because this is quite a beautiful form as compared to just decimal all the way. So, yeah, here's the way that you can solve sine 15 as well. Okay, the next thing to solve is cosine 75. Well, cosine 75 is basically very simple. Same thing. We split it out into two different angles. There will be cosine alpha plus beta. And let alpha be what? Cosine 30. Okay, sorry, alpha be 30, beta be 45. And what do we do next? We sort of like follow the trigo additional formula for cosine alpha plus beta is equals to 1. So the trigo additional formula is what? Cosine alpha plus cosine beta minus sine alpha sine beta. So this is the trigo addition formula for cosine of any angle, alright? Or the cosine of alpha plus beta. Okay, this is the trigo additional formula. So what we do is that we change the alpha, okay, to become 30, beta to become 45, alpha to be 30, and beta to be 45. And then we can just straight away solve using the right angle triangle as well as the equilateral triangle. So cosine 30 is what? Cosine 30 is adjacent, which is square root 3 over 2. Okay? Cosine 45 also adjacent over hypotenuse, so this is 45 degrees, or adjacent over hypotenuse. So it's 1 over square root 2. Okay, minus away sine 30. Sine 30 is how much? Sine 30. Let's take a look at this angle. So it will be sine 30. The opposite is just 1 over 2. Alright. And then sine 45 down here, it is 1 over square root 2. And basically you can solve already. So that will be how much? That will be square root 3 over 2 square root 2 minus 1 over 2 square root 2. So this is the answer of finding cosine 75. Okay, last but not least is to actually calculate cosine 15, alright? So first thing that we do is to split it out into cosine alpha and minus beta, okay, because this is the correct formula to solve it. And then the next thing that we do is to replace alpha with a value. Alright, so we replace alpha with 45 and replace beta with 30. Well, the reason to replace alpha is 45 and beta is 30 is because we know, okay, the value of cosine 45 sine 45, cosine 30, sine 30, okay, without using the calculator. Okay, so here's the method: cosine 45 minus 30. And the next thing that we do is to use the trigo addition formula. Cosine alpha minus beta is equals to cosine alpha cosine beta plus sine alpha sine beta. Alright, so this is the formula. So next we will substitute. Alpha is 45 and beta is 30, so that will be cosine 45 cosine 30 plus sine 45 sine 30. Alright, and after that we can simply make use of this very helpful kind of right angle triangle as well as the equilateral triangle. So here we go. Cosine 45 is, this is 45 degrees. Alright, so cosine 45 is adjacent, which is 1 over hypotenuse, which is square root 2, so it's 1 over square root 2. Cosine 30 is what? 1 over 2, is it? It's square root 3 over 2. Alright, so it's adjacent over hypotenuse. And of course sine 45 is what? Sine 45 is opposite over hypotenuse, so it's 1 over square root 2. And last but not least, sine 30 is opposite over hypotenuse, so it's equals to half. And then finally, we are able to calculate. So 1 times square root 3 is square root 3 over 2 square root 2 plus 1 over 2 square root 2, which is equivalent to square root 3 plus 1 over 2 square root 2. Alright, so here you go. This is how you go about using solving cosine 15, cosine 75, sine 15, sine 75 without using a calculator. Alright, but you need to sort of like remember this trigo addition formula. So let me repeat again. Trigo additional formula: sine alpha plus beta is sine alpha cosine beta sine beta cosine alpha. Alright, sine alpha minus beta is sine alpha cosine beta minus sine alpha, not sine alpha, but sine beta cosine alpha. Alright, and cosine alpha minus beta is cosine alpha cosine beta plus sine alpha sine beta. And last but not least, we have cosine alpha plus beta. So this is equals to cosine alpha cosine beta minus sine alpha sine beta. Okay, so that's about it. Alright, hopefully you'll be able to solve cosine 15, cosine 75 using without using a calculator. Same thing for sine 15 and sine 75. If you have any issues, you can actually write down in the comment section below. I'm Bob signing off from here. Goodbye guys, and hopefully you can do and impress your teachers.